Hello and welcome to Conan Exiles Enhanced. This is not a beginner's guide or anything like that. This is just me exploring the new version of the game for the first time. We are going to actually start on the Isle of Siptah, because that's my favorite place to start anyway, when I play Isle of Siptah the old way. But also my favorite location is one of the places where the teleporters to switch maps, now that you can do that freely, are. So it's good. And also, I'm going to show you another specific reason why we do that, and why I why I want to start on Siptah to give myself a boost going into the Exiled Lands. So let's finalize our character. I didn't bother making you watch me make that, because you can see that lots of places, or just do it yourself if you want to play the game. We'll go with Kane. Confirm. I'm not going to watch the opening cutscene. I might throw it in, but I'm not going to watch it during recording. So, our first steps here. Clouds seem to be rolling in immediately. I wonder if the maelstrom's starting up. We're going to do the island survivor steps, but I'm not actually going to worry too. I'll do the first couple, because searching for supplies is easier on this beach. Beautiful. So the rest of it, I'm actually going to do... Well, no, I'll do the first one while I'm here, because it's just easier that way. Again, because we're near water and stuff. But I'm not going to worry too much about really starting until we get to the Exiled Lands. And I'll show you why and how I plan to do that. So, now we need to gather a plant fiber bush, which is over this way. I didn't actually realize it the first time I attempted to record this series the other day. The teleporter guy is like right over there. I went looking for him in a way more complicated place than I needed to, thinking he was further than he was. So let's make some clothes, because it's the only armor type thing we can make right now. They want me to spend attribute points, so let's do that. Craft a bedroll. We need some branches for that. Let me grab a little more plant fiber too. Yeah, okay, so it's not the maelstrom, it's just raining. I could grab branches as we run to where I'm going to show you, but we might as well do this part before we go. I know I had said I was going to do it on the way or something, but I changed my mind. I reserve the right to do that. Let's make a bedroll. Now we do need to start moving forward, though, because we can't place the bedroll here even if we wanted to. So I'm going to go over this way. I'm going to take a wide berth, because over there is a enemy wild dog. More specifically, I'm pretty sure it's one of the ones with higher health out of the two types. And we don't have any weapon to fight it with. So, I cannot place a bedroll here, because it's still considered like... You can turn that off if you're playing single player or in charge of your own server. But by default, you can't place building materials on like certain NPC... Not NPC, but like basically the terrain version of NPC, like specific locations. We can put it here on this edge of the beach, though. So let's do that. Give me one moment. Okay. Now, it wants us to gather stones, so it's a good thing we came over this way, too, because I don't think there were any stones on the other part of the beach. Gather some more branches, that's fine. We can do that. Now it wants us to craft a stone pick. That I'm actually going to hold off on for a minute, because we might not need to. And I'll tell you why. On the Isle of Siptah map, in the southeast section where I started, not only in the new Enhanced edition is the teleporter to the other map, in right around there, well, right down here, but up here, I'll zoom in a bit so I can show you better. I think it's, yeah, it's this spot right here. It's called the Flame of the East, as you'll see when we get there in a moment. And, there's some goodies there that we're going to pick up for anyone who's not familiar. Give me one moment. Alright, and we're back. So let's go over here. There you can see it actually. There is that flame in the east that I was talking about, is that sort of tower looking thing. We're just going to run along the water. We're going to completely ignore going any further upward. We will explore the Isle of Siptah in far more detail in this series, but I want to still start with the Exiled Lands because it is the original main map. But this, to me, is there is a place equivalent to this on the Exiled Lands so that you can get some early like upgrades. You know, it's not cheaty in any way. As long as you know where it's located, anyone can grab it if you're on a server. It's not any kind of like secret thing. Like I said, you do have to learn or already know where it is, but other than that, it's built into the base game. But it just gives you some better starting stuff. But the one on the Exiled Lands is harder to get to, and you have to avoid enemies more. So now that there's an option to freely map transfer, I figured why not just start here, show you the place that when I start on the Isle of Siptah, I would have started anyway, even in the old map, and then take advantage of the fact that they put a lot of good stuff in easy places close together. Yeah, dog's going to try to attack us. I'm going to just run over here since I didn't make a weapon yet. And climb up here. He can no longer reach me because he can't jump. He will eventually go away. And climb up here. You definitely have to climb. There's no easy path. However, one thing I did learn when I was testing this, just to see how it played on my computer and stuff, you can certainly climb over to there, up to the ledge, up that way, and we're going to. But if you're careful, you can actually just run up this first part, on that little lip there, and you climb up this bit. We climb up here. We jump up inside. Then we open this. And what is in here? Ignore the weird jumpy shadows. That I am on Ultra. That could be because I'm on Ultra with a computer that can run this pretty well. But technically, there's probably better computers out there. There definitely is. Or it could just be the like day and night cycle settings I changed for recording purposes, making it a little jumpier. I don't know. Either way, it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't affect gameplay in any significant way. So I'm going to grab this steel trident, the steel javelin, advanced weapon damage kit. I'm actually going to grab everything in here just to empty it. While we're at it, I'm going to apply a couple more expertise. What I'm going to do, and I will cut here and bring you back for it, in single player, which is what I'm playing, I'm not playing on a server, you can run far enough in either direction that this place is no longer in the, I forget what the term is, but basically that it's no longer a render range. That's the term I'm looking for. you can get at a render range and come back, and it will have all automatically reset. Having said that, since we got a weapon, go over here and deal with this dog that was trying to be a jerk before. Come here, puppy. Let's say hello. That'll be quite enough of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to sit here and make you watch this, but I'm going to farm this a few more times, because I don't hate tridents, or pikes is what the stone version of them is. But there are other kinds of weapons I would rather try to get, and you can get tools out of it, which is why I said the thing about the pick. So I'm going to try and do that a couple of times, see probably 3 to 5 times total, including this first one. Probably 5, to be honest. See what I get, and I'll bring you back, and we'll see the results, and I'll tell you which weapons and gear and stuff I've settled on based on what we get. See you soon. Welcome back. So I did 4 or 5 runs, and I got basically everything I was hoping to get. So you saw me get the trident and the javelin. My second run, I got the weapon I most wanted to get, which was a perfected steel battle axe, which I then immediately put that advanced weapon damage kit from what you guys saw on it. It now does 41 damage. We also got a falcata, which is a good one-handed strength weapon to give to our friends we're going to make soon. I got a steel warhammer. I don't really like the warhammers. They're really slow and two-handed. And I'm not big on two-handed weapons. Like, I will use a greatsword or a trident. I don't use the warhammers ever. We got a perfected steel greatsword. We got a perfected steel spear. We got a steel pick, which is, as you can see, I did not craft a stone one, and it now says harvest stone with your stone pick. It counts any pick, except, as I discovered while doing the grinding of that, going back and forth, except for the pickaxe. This actually is cool because it works as both a hatchet and a pick, but because it's not from the actual pick family of items, item keys in the programming, it doesn't count. I got that one first. But it is cool, and it also counts as a hatchet, which is the more important part for gearing up. We got a steel sickle. This is probably, honestly, the most important part for me, because we need a bunch of fiber and twine and things for some of the next few projects we're going to work on. Getting a sickle out of one of these chests will make that so much easier, because the sickle, as you can imagine with the shape of it, you can't make out of stone. You have to wait till you're at least level 10. I want to do a building, at least a basic one, before I'm ready to get to level 10 or 12 or whatever. So it's handy to have that. Of course, the weapon damage kit that we got, that you saw, I put that on the axe because that's my favorite one-handed weapon. I also got an advanced reinforcement kit that can be used to make weapons or armor have more durability. You can only put one type of reinforcement or damage kit on a weapon. That's why I haven't put that on the axe as well. Armor flexibility kit makes it more pliant and flexible. I forget what that means. It's not the armor reduction kit that I like to put on heavy armor. This is something different. I forget what it does. But in addition, we already have 26 iron bars and 33 steel bars for our collection of many we'll need over the course of the game. We also got 40 iron reinforcements and 9 steel reinforcements. We'll need those for building later. We got 10 gold bars, 22 silver bars. You can break those down into high-end materials later, which is great. We got an advanced weapon repair kit. Probably won't really end up using that, because you can, for legendary weapons, you can't use repair kits anymore anyway. They stopped that a while back. Pardon me a second. Sorry about that. Was holding in a cough. I had to go mute my microphone. But yeah, they stopped letting you use any of these kind of things on legendaries, no matter what tier repair kit it is anyway. And when you use the repair kits, they're good in a pinch. If you happen, like if I happen to have this on me, and like this axe will degrade, and it's going to probably degrade faster than I'm going to unlock the ability to repair it. There's two ways to repair in this game. If you know how to make the weapon from your knowledges, which we'll get into more here in a minute, or if you have a repair kit. You don't have to know how to use it for that. But it's better if you know how to, if you repair it through knowledge, because if you use the kits, they lower the maximum durability. So like, let's say I use 10 advanced weapon repair kits on this. I don't know how many you can use, but let's say you can use 10. The 10th one would basically, you wouldn't be able to use a 10th one. You'd use 9, and then it's like, no, if you repair it again, it's broken kind of thing. Whereas if you do it from knowledge, you don't lower the durability when you fix it with the raw materials. But it is good to have around early, especially in my case, where I'm probably not going to be able to repair these anytime soon and might need to. Probably will need to. That said, getting multiple different kinds of steel and perfected steel weapons, like I could always switch to the Falcata or the two-handed or the greatsword, because the greatsword, when I do use two-handed weapons, is my favorite one, because it swings wide and does lots of damage. And then we also just got some cool decoration stuff that when we actually build like a major base out of higher end materials later, I'll probably throw around for decorative. So I just wanted to show you all of that. Now what we're going to do, give me a moment, please. Sorry about that. My cough has been particularly bothersome today for some reason. I don't think I'm getting sick. I'm pretty sure it's just my normal overweight smoker cough, to be quite frank. But it seems to be giving me being extra tickly today for some reason. Although it is the time in spring where if I was going to catch a spring cold, I probably would be right now. Hopefully not. Anywho, I'm going to now use this time to show you the menu, specifically the radial wheel, because I play with a controller. If you play with the keyboard, there's normally a hotbar at the bottom. Because I've been switching back and forth, the hotbar is not showing. I prefer to play with controller because I learned this game initially on PS4, the old version of it. And also just because I'm not great with mouse and keyboard games to begin with. But the movement in this particular game with the mouse, like every time you turn the mouse, the whole camera turns, as opposed to like World of Warcraft with somewhat similar controls, where you hold down a mouse button to make it turn, and then otherwise the mouse just lets you click. It all moves at the same time freely in Conan, and I find that very dizzying and hard to follow. So I just stick with the controller. So I'm going to put these in the places I like them on my hotbar, or in my case the radial wheel, which is the controller version. Pardon me. I'll put my pick on the right. The pickaxe could go into either one, but in this case, since we got both a pick and the pickaxe, I'll put it in the spot where the hatchet normally goes, which is on the left. Once I make a shield, the shield will go on the bottom. For now, though, the steel sickle will go in the top left. And since that's all my tool-related things that I got from the run, from this set of runs, that's fine for now. So let's go climb back down, because we need to harvest some stone with our pick. So let's do that. Pick. There we are. That said, while I'm at it, just to show you how this works, you can see I have the pickaxe. You'll notice with the pick, he swings overhand. With the pickaxe, he swings kind of sideways, which is also how the regular hatchet would swing when we get one. But in the case of the pickaxe, it functions as both. Now, another good thing to note, if you didn't have a pickaxe and you say your hatchet was broken and you couldn't fix it, or your pick was broken and you couldn't fix it, but this was a normal hatchet, you can absolutely still use a regular hatchet to farm stone and iron. It just won't work as well as a pick, whereas the pickaxe, because it covers both, will work equally well for both. But just so you know, in case it comes up, if you're ever playing the game yourself, you absolutely can still use it for your opposite tools for that. They're just not quite as good at it. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to take this guy out just because he's there. Beautiful. Now that I'm at level 5 expertise, which unlocked the first perk, survivalist. Tools lose durability half as quickly, and hunger and thirst deplete 33% slower. Excellent. More importantly, expertise determines the maximum weight you can carry. So the next thing I want to level up is vitality, because I want to get the first perk in that, which is fierce vitality. You gain passive health regeneration. Very important in this game. So now they want me to craft a stone weapon. I probably will still get credit for this once I unlock them. I think. Because I do already have other weapons. Oh, I actually didn't. Weird. Huh. Could have sworn you would get credit for that. Maybe it's because I picked them up before I got credit. I don't know. Weird. Anyway, I'll craft a stone weapon. I don't care. I know that, like I said, I know the pick, you can obviously, like I showed you, just skip the step by picking up something better. But for some reason, that one, it doesn't allow. So, it wants us to slay an enemy. The other thing I was hoping to get from up there, but I didn't get it, was a skinning knife, so I better make at least a stone one. Although actually, in hindsight, the pickaxe is probably just as good because it's a higher tier as a stone thing's going to be for anyway. So what I did there was collect a bunch of hide, which we're going to need shortly. I'm almost, even with my 5 expertise, I am getting full though. So what I'm going to do, give me a moment. What I'm going to do is I'm probably going to drop the decorations, honestly, because I don't really need them. They're fun to get, but I could always come back and farm more of them if I wanted to. And they are, most of them do weigh quite a bit. Like this horn is 12 pounds. I don't know if it's technically supposed to be pounds, but that's what I call it. I'll drop those because I can always either make them, learn how to craft them myself, or just come farm the chest more later when I'm base building. And then that puts us at a more reasonable weight capacity. Now what I'm going to do, I'm over here to another doggo. Hey puppy, come here. Yeah, this is a stronger one. This is one of the ones that has the higher health that I was talking about. Well, it actually took, it was quite a bit more health. That's why it took 2 hits. So that gave me 10. What does the pick give me? Also 10, okay. So, even though it's the wrong tool, because it's a higher tier than the stone skinning knife, it's probably going to give me the same or more. So I can't be bothered making the stone one yet. Because I don't really need to. I'm going to bring all this stuff further up on my inventory just to help with the way the inventory displays in this game. There we go. Now, craft rough wraps. We can do that. Those are over here. Oh, also, before I forget, I'm going to make myself a shield, even though it is only a basic wooden one, so that I can put it with... When I do fight something hard enough, I have something to block attacks. Put that in vitality. Now, I do need to grab some more plant fiber because I used some to make the twine for that shield. Luckily, there's a big bunch of it over here and I have a steel sickle. Also, just for anyone curious, I didn't mention it because I just didn't think of it. I do have a couple of settings customized since single player is basically a one-person server that I'm the admin of, functionally. I did turn off dropping stuff on death just because this is more of an exploratory playthrough of places that I've rarely been. Because I played the game a lot, but I tend to play it, roughly up to the same point every time and go to the same handful of places. Especially when I'm here on Siptah, I haven't done as much. So I did that just for ease. And by default, you drop everything. There's also a third option where you can drop your backpack, but not your armor, not your active gear. Yeah, that would be your radial stuff and any armor you're wearing. So the other things that I did, I turned idle, hunger, and thirst for if I leave the game running while I'm taking a break between recordings or grinding. I turned that to the lowest setting so that I'm not, starving, going hungry while I'm not at the game. But I want to leave it on to continue playing after a break. That seems fair enough to me. Give me 1 second. So, the other thing I did turn up the crafting speed for both anything made by me, my animal pens when I make them, my thralls, that sort of thing. Again, just to make video recording easier. And any grindy stuff I have to do between videos. And the other thing I did was I didn't jack it up super high, but I did turn resource gathering up to 2 times multiplier. Because this is a very grindy game. And there's certainly nothing wrong with, like Angar, a guy that I like to watch when I'm a viewer of these games, likes to use creative mode to build. And I probably will for my main base, but I'm still going to make a pretty big beginner base just to have room for everything. And that one I am definitely going to grind out and kind of show you it being built. So that one, and other resources in general, I wanted to not take hours and hours, since I do like recording this and other games. And also, real life. So I'm not jacked up on time, so just to help with that a little bit. But what we're going to do now is craft those rough wraps. Also, just for fun, because it's either a DLC or I think it's a battle pass item that I got at some point. I think it came with a pack I bought. Just because I can, I'm going to make the Zingaran bedroll because it looks kind of cool, and you'll see it when I put it down on the Exiled lands. I've heard there's something in here for free right now. I don't know if that's accurate. It might be a thing I already went and got on my own before anyway. But I had heard there was. Or maybe it's something I have to put a code in for. I'll have to go watch the video. I didn't watch the video, I just saw a video from a Conan creator saying that there was a free thing in the store. There's also a bunch of DLC packs, a couple of which I own, lots of which I don't. I'll probably go back and buy them now that I'll be playing the game more again. I kind of always wanted to go back and buy them anyway, just to have. But, I gotta heal myself. That's the next part of that. So you just use the rough wrap. As you can see, It is an animation to do that. It is a fairly long animation. Do not try to do that in the middle of combat. I know this isn't a beginner's guide, but I'll still teach you the things I know if you are a beginner. It's just not structured as a beginner's guide. And give me 1 second. Alright, as I was saying, yeah, this isn't technically a beginner's guide, but that doesn't mean I won't teach you things and explain them to you as I do them, in case you are new. I've lost my train of thought, though, which is a problem from before. Oh, yeah. So, what we want to do, as we finish the Island Survivor, this is not where my train of thought previously was, but that's okay. I'm going to cut him down, and I'm going to harvest him with a corpse, harvest him with a corpse, harvest him with a tool. Now they want me to unlock Primitive Cook. This, for when you open your Knowledge tab, your first page will have sort of a scattering of the basics of each thing, which I'm just going to hit that for now. If you either click it, or in the case of me with the controller, you hit left bumper, or, well, in this case, right bumper, because it doesn't have the, like, auto scroll if you're at the end. You can go into the individual things and get more get all the all the information on those sections. But for what we needed, that's all we needed. So let's craft a fireplace, or a campfire. And to place that, you need to put it in your hotbar or a radial wheel, same as before. And I'm just going to pick a spot and drop it. I'm going to throw some wood in here and this meat that we've been collecting. The doggos give you feral flesh. Certainly good in a pinch, but definitely this gives you a lot... The steak gives you a lot more food income. Or food percentage to your bar. Move those up to there where I normally keep them. I just took them out of the way so I could show you all the stuff up here in one section. Eat a cooked meal, we can do that. We've got another level, so I'm going to put another point in vitality. We have now completed the Island Survivor journey and are now on to Survival Shelter. I'm not going to bother starting that one yet. Well, I'll unlock the knowledge. I'm not going to do the rest of that yet. Well, I say that. I'm going to do one more because I forgot. Again, we didn't get an actual hatchet. We got a pickaxe. I have to craft that. But as far as like the building portion, we'll do that when we hop over to the Exiled Lands, which now that we've got all this gear that I came for, will be right now. We're going to cut our way through this dog over here first that we skipped at the beginning, because we're now equipped to deal with him. Well, I say we're equipped to deal with him, and we are, if I actually land the hit. Alright, so we are bloody near encumbered. So what I'm actually going to do, it's going to ask me to unlock this in a couple of steps anyway. I'm going to unlock it now, so as soon as we cross over to the Exiled Lands, I can build a box, basically. That is the plan. I'm going to craft 10 of those to have extra twine ready. I'm going to craft a construction hammer. I am now over encumbered. So what I'm actually going to do, because it is very easy to get more ironstone. Actually, you know what? I'll just drop the regular stone, because that's even easier to get. How much wood do we have right now? 31. So what we'll do, we'll go to the Exiled Lands. The fella that we need is right behind here, I think. Yep. So, in the new Conan Exiles Enhanced, which currently is, as of the time of recording, is only on Steam. Not PC, Steam specifically. Because it's the easiest one for them to release it on. They have the least barriers of entry, and it gives them an easy and PC in general more broadly, is the best place to release something first to test it and make sure it does what you want it to do. But since that release, now that the two maps are connected, Isle of Siptah is DLC, so you would have to pay for it. But once you have access to both, they are now joined together with teleporter sorcerers, which is this person. So, I am going to say, take me to the Exiled Lands. Amazingly, if you're in the Exiled Lands and use one of them, it'll say, take me to the Isle of Siptah. Like this. Whoa, isn't that amazing? So amazing. Also, here's the journey system, like when you actually go in to claim things. I'm not going to claim that one just yet because it'll get heavy, but I'm going to complete it in a minute because I want the supplies in order to build. What I am going to claim, though, is this new one that says travel to the Exiled Lands. If you had started in the Exiled Lands, you do have to complete Island Survivor in order to unlock this. Or if you start in the Exiled Lands, the starting journey just says Survivor because you're not on the Isle of Siptah, so it's on an island. And this will say travel to the Isle of Siptah. Either way, we have finished it. I am over encumbered. We get 2 different supply materials. More on that in a minute. I will be right back. Welcome back. So, full disclosure, I did briefly turn on and use the admin teleport to get where we now are. I accidentally hit the wrong button, or this counts, I don't know. But anyway, it triggered the Sentinel's key point. The reason I did that is, as you can see, that's a decent sized chunk of map to try and either run or swim across. And I was over encumbered when I picked up the stuff that I needed to finish that, like when I cut the tree down to get credit for that. Also, I opened those packs that I got. Unfortunately, this is a two-handed legendary, so I can't use it because I don't like it. It's one of the Warhammers, but I wish it was the one-handed like mace version because it's a giant table leg that you can use that is a legendary weapon, and it's actually a really good weapon, except that it's the two-handed hammer and not the one-handed. So that's fun. That came with the I assume the travel to the Exiled Lands pack. It didn't specify which materials were which. But yeah, I also opened the materials hoping to get wood for the building we needed to do. I didn't. I got plant fiber and something else. So I was over encumbered. And quite frankly, for a single player PvE game that it doesn't hurt anybody, I was not running. Like, if I'm doing it with you on camera, I'll run it. I'd already stopped the camera, or recording, whatever you want to call it, anyway, because I was working on other things, because I was working on stuff and needed to take a little break from the recording session at the desk. So I was like, you know what? I don't feel like running that, especially if they're not watching. So I didn't, to be quite frank. I'm glad I didn't, because it takes forever when you're encumbered to move anywhere. So we are now level 9. I do want some stairs, by the way. And I think for this build, I want the thatch roof, because I want to do more of an angled roof instead of the just like flat top one. So what we're supposed to do now is build a foundation. Also, that's what the Zingaren bedroll looks like. I think it looks pretty neat, and since I have it, it certainly looks like the clean, especially in UE5, looks the cleanest and like neatest just design. So I figured since we could make it, why not? What we're going to do right now, though, is we're going to go back to here and we're going to build a foundation. Just one. That's all we need to do for now. I don't care if it's tall or short right now. I'll show you how to adjust that stuff as we go. For now, I just want to complete the quest. We put a wall up. Now it wants us to build a door frame. Great. Now it wants us to use the building piece picker. To do that, I forget what the button is on mouse and keyboard. I don't use it. But if you're using a controller, and this obviously works the same even if you're playing on actual console on UE4 still, because the buttons are still the same, you stand close to and look at the piece that you want to use the building piece picker on, in this case the wall, and you hit R3, or for those not as familiar with the specific terminology, that would be the clickable part of your right joystick, and it picks the piece that you've selected. So put us back to more walls. It just wants us to build a ceiling at this point, but there can be sandstorms here, so I'm going to actually put an extra wall just to be safe. And then I'm going to go over to the ceiling and put it in, and then I'm going to put a door in. Now, I don't have enough twine for the basic wooden door that comes with the game. However, one of the many, at least partial building piece sets that I bought or got as part of the various battle passes and Bazaar Shop stuff. Now, they don't do battle passes anymore. They still have the Bazaar Shop. I showed you that earlier. But when they did them as actual battle passes, one of the things that I think we got as a reward if you finished one of the early Age of Sorcery first battle pass quests was some fancy, slightly fancier sandstone. And since this one needs less materials and I can build it, I don't care which door I put in because I'm going to rebuild all this shortly anyway. So access or place a wooden box. You notice it says access or place. Same with the campfire earlier. They know people sometimes jump steps. Like in my case, I couldn't move, so I had to build a box to put stuff away. So they do allow you to just go into one you've already built. Store something in your wooden box. Easy enough. Let's put some more bark in there. Also, bark is one of the things I got out of one of those chests of rewards, I believe. I certainly haven't picked any bark yet. I'll show you how we do that, actually, now. Because before we start blacksmith, I'm going to need to go build my base. And honestly, now that I showed you how I'm building the base, I probably won't. I'll probably just use creative mode. I know I said I wouldn't, but it is very grindy, especially early game, even with these better tools. But I will show you how to get bark, because it's going to be important soon. Like right now. You use a pick on a tree instead of a hatchet, which actually, I know where we got the bark now. The pickaxe counts as both, which means you get the rewards as if hitting it with both. So, having said that, between a couple different stops and starts and videos, I think my combined total now is at about 30 minutes. So, I'm going to go build the base. I will probably bring you back to show you that before I officially end this episode. But I'm going to go do that and then bring you back to explain what the plan is for the next episode. So we'll see you soon. Welcome back. As you can see, we have finished the base. This first one, maybe I'll change it up later. But for now, it's just a 7x7 square. I did 7x7 because I wanted something big enough to put a good amount of stuff in. And I like odd numbers in this game because then you can put your doors right in the middle. If you were building like a double door or a gate or something, obviously that might change it. But for this base with just a single regular door, 7x7 was a good size. I did pick up my bedroll and put an actual bed down. For now, I just put a basic, like, base game bed. I might change that later, we'll see. And, yeah, I did unlock the blacksmith while I was building. I didn't place anything yet, of course, but I did unlock it. So it now says access or place a furnace. So we'll finish the blacksmith and then we'll call it an episode. So, crafting stations, smithing, furnace. Oh yeah, and I also put some standing torches. There are wall ones, but These are the ones that if I wasn't using creative mode, I would actually have access to at this point in my development. So to keep it as honest as possible while still using the creative mode, I put that. I can't talk. I used the ones that I would actually have used if I was building it completely from scratch, is what I'm trying to say. Alright, let's just check this there for now. There. Harvest ironstone. We can do that. So, the closest ironstone, you will not find very little, if any, along Noob River, which when you start on the Exiled Lands map is you start down here and come up to this river. The place that's the easiest to find some quickly is up this way. So I am just going to do a quick admin teleport, just because mainly because we're at nearing the end of the episode, but I do want to finish this since I said I was going to. Earlier in the episode I mentioned it. So, what I'm actually going to do though, is I'm going to go right up to here. Because I can show you a place. There's a big amount of iron in a specific area, but we just need one right now. So I'm just going to come over here and go show you one of the ones that I normally recommend people run across Noob River to get. Obtain fuel, doesn't matter what kind. We have done that. Now these are dried up trees. Good place to potentially get dry wood, which is one of the better fuel sources. With the stone tools, if you started in Exiled Lands and didn't have the steel stuff, you probably wouldn't get very much of it. Even still, I'm not getting all that much of it. But we got a little bit. So now we will go back here. Just for the purpose of finishing this up. As I said, when I'm doing actual adventures, I won't be teleporting around. Except if it's an in-game form, like a regular base game teleport item. Look how good the straw on these straw pieces looks now. So yeah, I just built basically a normal shaped house. Obviously, it's a lot taller on top than this because I only built it one wall high. But I made it wide, so I had to make it tall. But otherwise, it just kind of looks like a regular, real-life, house would. So, let's go in here. Since I got a little bit, let's use that dry wood, because it's a better fuel source than regular wood. Craft that, make some iron bars, take one out. We are done. Now we must access, or I can't talk, good lord. Access or place a blacksmith's bench. First of all, let's grab those things. We'll put this in here to keep smelting more iron. We are now going to build a blacksmith bench, which needs 50 iron bars. Thankfully, we got some on the Isle of Siptah, and 250 stone. This is a shaped one, so I like to put it, just when possible, I like to put it in a corner. I like to put most of them against the wall to some degree anyway. This one in particular, I like to put roughly in a corner. Something about that, give or take. And we are now done blacksmith. Reward for completing blacksmith is a weapon repair kit, which I don't really want, or don't care about anyway. We also finished Shelter Survivor, or Survival Shelter. So let's claim that. Now, in this game, in this current UE5 version, you can work on steps of other, you can have one highlighted that you see in the corner there, but you can work on the current step of any of them. I don't care about doing the warrior one just yet. We'll come back to that. So I'm going to actually do armor, or select armor to be my highlighted one, and we will finish that in the next episode. because I want to make armor anyway. So until next time, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, drop a like, subscribe, comment. We will see you for more Conan Exiles Enhanced in our next installment. If you happen to be like me and like a variety of things, we also do other games here on Pixelgamia. The main ones right now being the Brigandine series. I'm finishing putting out my Leonia playthrough of the original Legend of Forcina. I'm also working my way through catching up recordings for Brigandine Grand Edition as New Almechia and Brigandine Runersia as the Shinobi Tribe. That one is my first playthrough of that game ever. I've dabbled in it briefly, but that's the first time actually playing through properly. If that's not your cup of tea, that's fine. I just figured I'd mention it. But either way, we'll see you next time for more of probably our first real adventure once we get armor in Conan Exiles. Peace out.